Hey, it's been a while. Since we last saw each other, Missing Link got canceled. I could tell that things weren't going well, but I gotta be honest, I didn't realize that it was that bad. But this isn't a Missing Link video. When it comes to the next phase of the Kingdom Hearts story, the thing I'm most interested in finding out is the identity of Demyx and the Master of Masters. Are they the same person? Are they connected in some other way? What's the deal? I've already made a few videos detailing some of my more creative theories about what might be going on, but today I'm going to tell you about my most down-to-earth theory regarding Demyx's identity. It's really simple, to the point that I almost find it disappointing. I think that my other ideas are obviously more unique and interesting, and although they're still possible, I don't find them nearly as likely as this theory. In a way, I don't find its predictability to be a bad thing. At the end of the day, no matter what happens, I just want everything to make sense. As long as the answer makes sense and feels intentional, I'll be satisfied. In that regard, if this is true, I'm already happy. So, what is it, you ask? To be honest, if you've thought about the Demyx theory for more than a few seconds, this idea might have crossed your mind already. In reality, what we call the Demyx theory is just the all-encompassing idea that Demyx is somehow the mom, but there are more specific theories that attempt to explain how. This is probably the simplest explanation, and there is some possible evidence to support it. First, I want to redirect your attention to those last few lines from Demyx's story in the Kingdom Hearts Character Files book again. If you've never heard of it, it's a book very similar to the Ultimania guides, which contains a lot of information about the story, setting, and characters. What really makes it special is that it also includes a number of short stories for the major characters, most of which take place after Kingdom Hearts 3. In Demyx's story, he recalls that he joined the organization because he wanted friends. However, most of its members were already separated into their own groups and cliques, so he never really belonged with anyone. In this story, he also talks about how he decided to help Vexen because he felt like it was a unique chance for him to do something that only he could do. Then, that reminds him of something that he heard once upon a time. To quote, "Oh yeah, what is it that person used to say all the time? Something about a guiding key? Come to think of it, wasn't something guiding me?" Now, if you're like me, that line might have thrown your brain into complete chaos. I was obsessed with this mystery long before that book ever came out. When I read that line, I had a brief moment of panic and worried that it meant that all of my theories might have been wrong. I mean, the only person who's known for saying, "May your heart be your guiding key" all the time is the Master of Masters. I've read the story in Japanese, so I can confirm that it is unambiguously the mom's phrase. If Demyx heard him say that phrase, then that means that he met the mom, and if he met the mom, then they can't be the same person, right? Well, I've come up with a number of explanations and even shared some on this channel, but there is one answer that was always staring me in the face, waiting for me to acknowledge it. Demyx could be the young version of the mom. In Cage 3, Xemnas hinted that Larxene, Marluxia, Demyx, and Luxord all came from the ancient past. We already know that Larxene and Marluxia used to be Ilrena and Lauriam, two characters who appeared in K-Hux during the Age of Fairy Tales time period, but what about Demyx and Luxord? Well, I think that Luxord could be Brain, but this ain't about him, so let's just ignore that for now. That just leaves Demyx, who we never saw in K-Hux. I think it's possible that Demyx was from a period before the Age of Fairy Tales. Imagine this scenario with me for a moment. You're the Master of Masters. You just watched all of your friends, who all happen to wear the same black coat as you, succumb to the dark emotions inside themselves and turn into the unstoppable entity known simply as darkness. This event comes to be known as the Keyblade War. At first, you try everything you can think of to try to turn your friends back into who they used to be. Years pass. Slowly, your spirit is worn down. You start to believe that there's no hope for them. You have to destroy them, or else they'll continue trying to bring about the end of the world. Nothing works. You try to go to other worlds, run away, but they always find you. Eventually, you abandon your body and try to travel back in time just as a heart, praying that everything will go back to normal if you can just warn yourself about what's going to happen. But it's no use. Your friends are already gone, as if they've been erased from time. But the darkness, they're still there, and they've found you, even in the past. One of the darkness gets a bright idea. To finally make you succumb, it tries to enter the heart of your younger self. But once it's there, it can't escape. Your heart was always strong. You never wanted this conflict. You don't want to fight. This gives you an idea. If you can train 6 apprentices whose hearts are equally strong, the darkness can be contained. And then, even if it means destroying yourselves, at least the darkness will finally be defeated. It's totally possible the darkness isn't inside Demyx, but if it's not already inside him, then it would have to be inside the black box or something. I mean, that is possible. Look at how evil that box looks. I'm not sure where the gazing eye enters into this scenario, but I feel like there has to be some element of inevitability that makes the gazing eye necessary. After all, he wouldn't have needed it if going back in time was enough to fix everything. So, the mom spent some indeterminable amount of time in the past with Demyx, his younger self. While they were together, he must have often said, "May your heart be your guiding key." I would assume that he sent him to the future using the lifeboat. In the future, Demyx encounters someone from the organization. When he sees that they're wearing the same black coat as him, he probably feels a strange sense of deja vu. If we assume that they're the same person, then that means that the mom wanted friends when he was young, which makes his ties to darkness all the more tragic. The precious friends that Demyx would have made are now gone. A lot of Demyx theories suggest that he's simply forgotten that he's the mom, or that he was merely hiding his true identity this whole time. I think a lot of people, myself included, have assumed that Demyx will eventually have all of the mom's memories and act more like him after the reveal happens. But if this theory is true, then that doesn't need to be the case. Demyx can stay exactly the way he is because the mom may have already told him everything he needed to know when they met each other in the past. Because he is younger and doesn't have experience as their leader, I wouldn't be surprised if Luciu takes over the position of leader, at least informally. I'd like the idea of them swapping their roles of teacher and pupil. That said, I could also see Demyx getting really excited about the idea of being the one in charge for a change. That could easily go to his head and become the thing that gradually turns him into the mom that we're more familiar with. The mom is represented by the deadly sin of pride, so that would be very fitting. I'm still not sure what made me overlook this idea. As far as I can tell, there isn't anything that necessarily contradicts it. Maybe it's just because it seems so similar to things we've already seen, but that's also what makes it sound so realistic. In BBS, Xehanort stabbed himself with a keyblade to transfer his heart to Terra's body. At that moment, his heart briefly went back to Destiny Islands, where he was able to influence his younger self. Similarly, when Maleficent was defeated in KH1, she sent her heart all the way back to the Age of Fairy Tales, where she was able to inhabit a dative version of herself that had been created from the Book of Prophecies. Maleficent learned how to do it thanks to Xehanort, but that is typically a trick that only Keyblade masters can perform. You may be wondering, wouldn't Xehanort have known who Demyx was if he had the same name as the mom? It's actually stated in K-Hux that the mom bestowed new names upon each of the foretellers. We'll probably never know what their original names were, but at least we know that they technically have two names. That's important. I think the mom probably told Xehanort his name is a lost master, hence the look of astonishment on Xehanort's face when he heard it. He was familiar with the story of the Keyblade War and the Lost Masters. To go along with the others whose names are based on the Latin names of the 7 deadly sins, the name the mom gave to himself is probably Superbia. Something similar, X Super, is written on the lid of the black box. His original name could be literally anything. It may not even be important. The only important thing is that it means that Demyx's name is allowed to be anything. There are some popular contenders out there like Emid and Maid, but I've personally become a fan of Maid. If you pronounce it in Japanese, it sounds like the word Meido, which has some really crazy, really relevant meanings. First, it means Hades, or underworld, like the place where we first encountered Demyx in KH2. It also means, more generally, realm of the dead, like Quadratum. However, like I said, Demyx's name might be totally irrelevant if we're just going to be calling him Superbia from now on. Superbia is a bit of a mouthful, but super sounds kind of silly to me, so I'm personally pulling for Superbia. I wouldn't be surprised if Demyx thinks that super sounds like a super cool name, though. Needless to say, all this stuff connecting the Lost Masters to Final Fantasy Type 0 is still real and true. There's still no doubt in my mind that we're going to eventually see that connection come to fruition in a big way. If you haven't heard about that yet, I highly recommend checking out some of my other videos. That's about it for this theory. My apologies if I forgot anything. I'm trying to get this out quickly because I'm praying that we're going to finally receive a new KH4 trailer at the Game Awards on the 11th. Let's all wear our clown makeup proudly. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like this video, give it a like and feel free to share it around. I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, may your heart be your guiding key.